The year is 1885. London is shrouded in morning fog, its gas lamps flickering like dying stars. In the grand townhouse at number 42 Belgrave Square, Elizabeth awakens to another day of motherhood, a role that will define her entire existence, yet one she is forbidden to fully embrace. She is 32 years old. She has borne 3 children into this world, and today, like every day, she will spend less time with them than a servant spends polishing silver. This is not a story about grand historical events. This is about something far more intimate and far more heartbreaking. It is about the space between love and duty, between the fierce beating of a mother's heart and the iron rules of society that demand she suppress it. Follow Elizabeth through this day, from the moment she wakes to the moment she finally rests, and discover what it truly meant to be a mother when the world told you that you were not meant to mother at all. The bedroom is still dark when Elizabeth opens her eyes. Her husband sleeps beside her, his breathing deep and undisturbed. She lies motionless for a moment, thinking of her children sleeping several floors above. Thomas, 7 years old, Catherine, 5, and baby George, not yet 3. She will not go to them, not yet. That is not how things are done. Instead, she rises silently, her bare feet touching the cold floor. Her maid Sarah waits in the dressing room, ready with the corset. 15 minutes of hooks and laces, 14 pulls, each one tighter. With each one, Elizabeth becomes less the woman who gave birth and more the lady society demands. She catches her reflection in the mirror. Her face is resigned. Today will be like yesterday. Tomorrow will be like today. This is a Victorian mother's life, repetition, duty, and the constant burial of her own heart. By 8 o'clock, Elizabeth is fully dressed, dove gray wool, ivory lace, 3 rings on her left hand, wedding band, diamond, ruby. They feel heavier than usual today. She climbs the back stairs to the nursery, the servants' route, never for guests. The nursery is at the top of the house, separate from the family quarters, as it should be. Nurse Margaret is washing George in a basin. The boy sees his mother, and his face explodes with joy. "Mama!" he cries, reaching with soapy hands. Elizabeth's heart swells dangerously. She wants to pull him close and never let go. Instead, she nods to the nurse. "Good morning, George. I trust he slept well?" The boy's arms fall. His smile fades. His mother has become a stranger. Elizabeth touches his damp head once, then withdraws. "See that he gets the tincture for his gums. I shall see him at 4 o'clock. 5 minutes, that is all she allows herself. 5 minutes with the child she carried for 9 months. In the corridor outside, Elizabeth pauses. She can hear George crying. Her hand presses against the wallpaper. A mother should comfort her child, but a lady must never be ruled by emotion. She descends the stairs and returns to her drawing room. Her breakfast waits, untouched and cold. She was never hungry to begin with. By 9 o'clock, she sits at her writing desk. Letters from her mother-in-law, inquiries about the children's upbringing. Are they too attached to their nurses? Is Thomas's tutor sufficiently strict? A letter from her sister, expecting her 3rd child, terrified of the pain to come. Elizabeth writes back, "The pains of motherhood are the wages of sin. We must bear them with Christian fortitude. You will emerge a better woman." Every word is a lie, but it is the only thing she can write. At 1 o'clock, Elizabeth lunches alone. Cold chicken, bread, a single glass of wine. She tastes nothing. At 2, she takes up her needlework, a cushion cover that will take 6 months to complete. This is what a woman does when she is not allowed to do anything else. But today she cannot focus. Her mind returns to George, to the way his face crumpled when she pulled away. A servant brings a note. Her mother-in-law is in the neighborhood. She wishes to inspect the children at 3 o'clock. Elizabeth's stomach tightens. An inspection, as though her children were property to assess, as though love could be measured in obedience. She sends for Nurse Margaret. The children must be bathed, dressed in their finest. Thomas must recite Latin. Catherine must play piano. George must be silent. They will be presented like museum exhibits, not children who need their mother. At 3 o'clock precisely, the dowager arrives. Tall, thin, dressed entirely in black. Her eyes miss nothing. She inspects Thomas like a horse for purchase. Acceptable, she says of his Latin, but do not become too fond of pagan literature. Catherine plays Beethoven perfectly. The tempo was too fast in the second movement, the dowager observes. See that this is corrected. George, asleep in the nurse's arms, is deemed too small. I had hoped for a larger male child. The visit lasts 20 minutes. When it ends, the dowager departs without kissing her grandchildren, without smiling. Elizabeth returns to her drawing room. The roses in her needlework mock her with their perfect, embroidered beauty. This is motherhood in 1885. Love measured in obedience. Connection scheduled by the clock. At 4 o'clock, Elizabeth is allowed her hour with the children. Not a moment before, not a moment after. The children come to her as though greeting a distant relative. Time and separation have fractured their bond. George toddles into her arms. He is warm and heavy. He smells of milk and soap. She buries her face in his hair, storing the memory, knowing he will be taken away again soon. Thomas shows her his Latin homework. She praises him carefully. Not too warm. Excessive affection spoils a child. Catherine curls against her side and says nothing. Simply exists near her mother. This is the saddest thing, that her daughter has learned to ask for so little. Just presence, just the knowledge that for 1 hour she has not been abandoned. The hour passes. It always does. At 5 o'clock, Nurse Margaret returns. Elizabeth kisses each child goodbye, then stands alone in the empty nursery, her hands still raised as if holding them. By 6:30, Elizabeth must prepare for the evening. Her husband is returning from his club. Another dress, another corset, tighter still. Her mother-in-law's pearls around her neck. Sarah repins her hair into an elaborate arrangement. Elizabeth stares at her reflection. She barely recognizes herself. This is not the woman who gave birth. This is the wife, the lady, the role she was trained to play. At 7, she sits in the drawing room waiting, hands folded, back straight. The conversation will be about his day, the markets, politics, never about her day, never about the children. When he arrives, she rises to greet him. The mask is perfect. They dine, they retire. The day ends as it began. But late at night, when the house is silent, Elizabeth hears George cry. She slips from bed and climbs the back stairs in her dressing gown. Nurse Margaret steps aside without a word. Elizabeth lifts George from his crib. He is cutting a tooth. She holds him against her shoulder and whispers into the darkness. My darling, my beautiful boy, I know I cannot hold you during the day, but at night when no one watches, know that my heart is with you. Every moment, every breath. You are the best thing I have ever done. George sleeps through her words, but perhaps he understands, on some level beyond language, that he is loved. After a time, she returns him to his crib. She lies in her own bed and permits herself to cry, very quietly. These are the tears a Victorian mother cannot shed in daylight. This is what no one sees. Love that burns every second, and the necessity of hiding it for 18 years. This was Elizabeth's day in Victorian London, 1885. One day among thousands just like it, loving her children while forbidden to show it, holding herself distant while desperate to be close. We think of motherhood as sacred, natural, instinctive. But for women like Elizabeth, it was beautiful torture. Love without permission, desire without outlet. Did her children ever know how much she loved them? Or did they simply believe this was how mothers were? Distant, formal, cold. History does not record Elizabeth's private thoughts. Only what was proper, what was visible. The love that burned in her heart remains unseen, lost to time. Thank you for spending this day with her. If you love this story, please subscribe and give this video a like. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I read every single comment and would love to know who you are. And if there's a moment in history you'd like us to explore next, write it below. Paris in the 1920s? Ancient Rome? Tokyo after the war? Tell me, and we might just film it for you. Thank you for caring about these stories. Thank you for remembering the women who came before us.